Ultrasonic retro propulsion, firefight fire in the skies, combustion through plasma storms and blackout seas. Gravity chains snap with engines roar like ancient beasts. Flames consume but never feast. Metal wings slice the void apart. A funeral pyre, a rocket's heart. Does the air terror, does it yield? What's the cost of the battlefield? Ultrasonic retro propulsion, firefights fire in the skies, combustion from plasma storms and blackout seas. Gravity chains snap with red rivers, burning trails, echoes scream where silence fails. Ashes rain, the sky won't care, but we keep climbing unaware. In another, in another, in another, in another, in another, in another, in another.
Okay, what's going on, everybody? No, the lyrics to the song are eat another gummy bear. Eat another gummy worm. No? That's what it sounds like to me. Sure, because that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. Oh? All right. All right. So, Space and Rocket Review. Here we are. Some big news just dropped a second ago. Actually, about 20 minutes ago, as of 6:30 p.m. local time, Eastern Standard Time, on the Eastern Seaboard. Not much space news tonight, I don't think. I know, it's the news that you guys have all been waiting for. Guess what? Astra tested a new engine. Hey, look at that. Astra clean sweep. Look at this. All right. It's peeing. Yeah. So, look at this. Isn't this great? Money. Money. Is it theirs or is it another rental? I think that Astra, I'm pretty sure Astra is using Reaver engines from Rocket 4, and they got Reaver engines from Firefly, and they didn't like the build quality, so they just built Reaver engines themselves. I'm pretty sure that's how that went. And Griscamp had his own special way of explaining that, but I'm pretty sure that's what he meant. So they stole the design. No, it's still license built. As far as I can tell, either that or Jason Kim over at Firefly would be like, what's the word I'm looking for? No. Please, it's almost 1 a.m. Give us the news. All right. Sean Duffy has done an incredible job as interim administrator of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. This evening, I am pleased to nominate Jared Isaacman, an accomplished business leader, philanthropist, pilot, astronaut, administrator of NASA. He's pretty much everything. He does everything. He's pretty awesome. He does all of it. He goes to space. He comes back. I'm like, wow, this guy goes to space a lot. Jared's passion for space astronaut experience and dedication to pushing boundaries of exploration, unlock the mysteries of the universe, and advance the new space economy make him ideally suited to lead NASA in a bold new era. Congratulations to Jared, his beautiful wife Monica, their children Mila and Liv. Thank you for your attention in this matter. China. Unfollow. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Oh, God. Oh, all right. Anyway. No. I'm not. Look. The president reopened Jared Isaacman's nomination for NASA administrator. That is big news, dude. Play that tiny accordion very well. I'm really good at playing the accordion. I can play all kinds of things. You just gave Nick nightmares for a month? Good. Read that in Kennedy's voice. I'm not reading a statement from the president in John F. Kennedy's voice. We're not doing that. That's not something we're doing. Duffy about to set the building on fire. You forgot the beautiful children. Oh, yeah, that's right. Here, have a candy bar. You know? Isn't that like removing an already won contract? Yeah, I know. It's really, yeah, Vin, that's so strange. That's such a dick move. Wait. So, we're choosing to go to the moon. Great moon, by the way. The best. That's pretty good, Jared. That was pretty fun. Great moon. I talked to guys that went there. They landed and they were like, wow, this moon is great. I'm sorry. I can't help it, man. It earworms you so bad. You have no idea. You have no idea, dude. It earworms you like it, dude. It's bad. It's bad. I've never seen a moonlight. I don't mean to. I swear. I'm not trying to make any statement or anything. I just think it's funny. All right. I just think he talks funny. George W. Bush talked funny too. Okay. You know, like, yeah, makes you a freaking hypocriticizer too. So shut the heck up and enjoy this space news. Now watch this drive. Sorry. No one has ever seen a moonlight. The vice president is here. What do you think about this, Mr. Vance? JD, what do you think? I think the moon is great. Can I play Halo on the moon? Yes, you may. Anyway, all right, that's enough. All right, too far? All right, too far. Bill Clinton and go. I did not send people to that moon. I wanted to, but I did not. Do you have any idea how much self-control it's taking for me to be quiet right now? It's literally only fear of getting bit. Good. Fear the banhammer. But it was the right kind of far. All right. Are you sorry? I got my Mountain Dew. All right. Anyway, so Jared posted this right after that. So he says, thank you, Mr. President, for this opportunity. It would be an honor to serve my country under your leadership. I'm also very grateful to Sean Duffy, who skillfully oversees NASA alongside many other responsibilities. The support from the space-loving community has been overwhelming. I'm not sure how I earned the trust of so many. Probably like by being the first guy to EVA out of a spacecraft, like in a really long time. The first commercial mission to do it probably has something to do. Like that probably has something to do with it, Rook. I mean, honestly, it could also be that like $500 million you raised for pediatric cancer research. Yeah, yeah, people tend to like that when, you know, pediatric cancer isn't a thing. I think that has a lot to do with it, man. You know, like I think that has a lot to do with it. You guys, so Jared Isaacman had his previous. If you don't know him, all right, he's done 2 prior space flights. He did the Inspiration 4 mission, which was the first commercially operated spacecraft, where him and 4 others. So it was him, it was Haley Arsenault, Dr. Sian Proctor, and Chris Simbrowski. They went up into space on the first commercial flight. It was first all commercial flight. And then they did the Polaris mission after that. He did the Polaris mission, the first Polaris mission called Polaris Dawn. Polaris Dawn was a program where they boosted the capsule higher than any person has been since the Apollo program, up about 1,000 kilometers up. That's a long way, man. That's actually, I think it was like 800, but it's still, that's really far up there. That mission was Jared Isaacman, Scott Poteet, Anna Menon, who is now a NASA astronaut, or at least a NASA astronaut candidate, and I'm forgetting Sarah Gillis, who was the last one. Also on top of these, they were very high profile, and he used them to raise money for St. Jude. St. Jude is a pediatric research center that, you know, helps cure cancer in children. And between those 2 missions, he raised $500 million, $250 million each pop for each mission. So $500 million for pediatric cancer research. So I mean, I'm just putting it out there. Like, that's pretty cool. That's astronaut Shane Gillis. I don't think he's been to space. 1,400 kilometers, 875 miles. Yep. So that's a whole lot of Radex. Yes, that's right. Mm-hmm. But okay. So anyway, just a little bit. I don't know why. Well, that probably has something to do with it. All right. But I will do everything I can to live up to these expectations. To the innovators building the orbital economy, to the scientists pursuing breakthrough discoveries, and to dreamers across the world eager for a return to the moon and the grand journey beyond. These are the most exciting times since the dawn of the space age. And I truly believe the future we've all been waiting for will soon become reality. To the innovators building the orbital economy, to the scientists pursuing breakthrough discoveries, and to the dreamers across the world eager for a return to the moon and the grand journey beyond. These are the most exciting times since the dawn of the space age. And I truly believe the future we have all been waiting for will soon become reality. Now that's something I'll do. Yeah, that's Kennedy worthy right there. Not that. not that, man. Not that. All right. And to the best and brightest at NASA, and to all the commercial and international partners, we have an extraordinary responsibility. But the clock is running. The journey is never easy, but it is time to inspire the world once again to achieve the near impossible, to undertake and accomplish big, bold endeavors in space. And when we do, we will make life better here at home and challenge the next generation to go even further. Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. No? All right, cool. NASA will never be a caretaker of history, but will forever make history. Oh, I like that. I like that. That's a nice thing to say. Godspeed to the president. Godspeed to NASA, as America leads the greatest adventure in human history. Oh, oh, yeah, yeah. Very good. Yeah, 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 yeah. All right. All right. All right. I mean, guy's a B2 on his desk. That's pretty cool. All right. All right. All right. Okay. Okay. Why does he have an empty display stand on his desk? Yeah, I don't know. It's so weird. That's what I was saying. Like, dude, it's just empty. You know, it's just a stand. And I wonder what plane it's showing. Did he always have a B2 on his desk? See, Kraken, he actually has there's like 3 or 4 airplane models in the Oval Office right now. There's a Boom Supersonic one that Blake Scholl gave him when they legalized supersonic transport a little while back, or at least low supersonic transport. There's a B2, and I believe there's a B1 as well. Just putting it out there. I'm just putting it out there. I mean, don't hate that. I mean, the last guy had some Apollo stuff there. He had moon rocks. Yeah, last guy had moon rocks in the Oval Office. Yes, I keep track of this. No, it's not information I usually share for obvious reasons. But yeah, that's pretty cool. What have you missed? How's that, John? Audio went out. Hey, Resonant. I can't watch the stream today due to it being all over the screen after the announcement. Wait, what? More JFK, please. Nice. Will he go through a confirmation hearing again? I don't know, guys. I don't know what he's going to do regarding like Senate confirmation. I think maybe we just go where we left off. Like, on a scale from bad day to good day, how would you rate your day now? Guys, look. I don't know. We talked about a potential plan from Jared Isaacman called Project Athena about what his plans are for NASA, and he did post it. He did end up posting it today. Before the nomination was announced, interestingly enough. Anyway. Okay. Sorry. Edmana, what you said just made me think of like the flavor blasted tacos from Taco Bell with like the Dorito shell. I don't know, man. My brain's messed up, dude. Bob, yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. Guys, I don't know. I don't know if Jared's going to be good or bad. I would say good. To be honest with you, I'd say good, but I don't know. This is not bad news because, look, we can say whatever we want about Eric Berger, but Eric Berger's sources are usually pretty right. Like, they're pretty right. I mean, we disagree about some things here and there, but one thing about Eric's sources over at ours is it's somebody that's really, really got their finger on the pulse at NASA, whoever it is. And from what he was reporting over the last couple of weeks, it sounds like Sean Duffy tried to roll NASA into the Department of Transportation. It sounds like that wasn't bullcrap, which is, look, man, that's the good news. The good news is that that's not happening. That's the good news. Apparently, it restarts from the beginning, which means Isaacman probably won't be in office until next year. Surely there's some type of surely they're going to come up with some type of expedited thing. Strickler, granted, we're in a space race, by the president's own admission. I'm sure we'll find something. As long as he gets confirmed by the Senate and it's voted for, I don't have a problem with it. Yeah, Shmamaron, exactly. You know, I don't agree with some of the things that Eric says about like cost plus contracts and stuff, but his sources are concrete. Like like they're pretty damn concrete. Yeah, Wisp, we'll see. So yeah, Noctiluxe, I really think so. I really think he did not appreciate what Sean Duffy was doing with NASA. I'm pretty sure Elon told him that. If we really want to be candid here. So I want to get into a little bit. Rook posted about what he wants to do with NASA in a little more detail than what we've been hearing. Let's see. Because one thing about Jared Isaacman, guys, he's got his finger on the pulse in terms of like what's going on in the space industry and the spaceflight fan community. He's done interviews with NSF. He's done interviews with Spaceflight Now. He's done interviews with Aviation Week. He's all over the place. He does podcasting. He's very in tune with like social media and stuff. The guy posts all the time. So that's kind of cool that we have somebody that's so technologically savvy running NASA. I think that is a real big plus. The Sean Ryan podcast was fantastic. It was great. Senate Commerce also got IIJA reauthorization next year, so they may move quickly or really slowly. Okay. Can a NASA administrator be nominated again after the president's term is over? Sure. Yeah, sure. Size up. NASA administrators have bridged presidential administrations. It's happened. James Webb stayed the NASA administrator from President Kennedy through President Johnson's presidency, and then Nixon replaced him. So it has happened, albeit with an asterisk next to it, but it has happened. Best since Webb, calling it now. Admana, we'll see. We'll see if Jim can be top, dude. Jim did a good job. What made Jim do a good... Nowadays, I don't know. What made Jim do so well is the fact that it was very easy for him to navigate through the political nonsense. And he did a very, very, very good job staying right in the center lane. And, you know, I appreciate that. Right in the center lane. He was very classy about it. He didn't... No bullcrap rhetoric. Not with him, which was cool. We'll see if it can be topped. Yeah, Hellfish, we'll see. I don't know, John. I don't remember when Space News with Rook. I don't know. We'll see. So, anyway, I thought you guys would want to go through his list to kind of see here. So, this was before this information was out. This was posted this afternoon. So, yeah, here. Jared kind of dunked on Sean Duffy again. Let's see. It is unfortunate that NASA's team and the broader space community have endured distractions like this. There are extraordinary opportunities and some risks ahead, and so the focus should be on the mission. With many reporters and other interested parties reaching out, I want to help bring some clarity to the discussion. Unfortunately, that means another long post. We also have to go through the second part of that blog thing. Anyway, maybe we'll do that tomorrow. I've met Secretary Duffy many times and even flew him in a fighter jet at EAA Oshkosh, probably one of the coolest things a cabinet secretary can do. I've also told many people I think he has great instincts and is an excellent communicator, which is so important in leadership. If there is any friction, I suspect it is more political operators causing the controversy. And I think that's a typo. His areas of responsibility. Interesting. I suspect it is more political operators causing controversy. Okay. Elon said he's an idiot. Okay, that kind of makes sense now. All right. I don't know. Guys, I always look. It was fun. It was kind of fun to dogpile on Sean Duffy, and maybe I shouldn't have done it as much. But also, that pretty much tracks with what I'm saying. He's a great communicator and has great instincts. Instincts are bad for running NASA. That's not a good idea. The guy recognized that we need to do something. We need to do something, but in my personal opinion, I think as his tenure as interim acting administrator, I think he pulled the wrong lever. Opening up the HLS contract is a terrible precedent for NASA. That's a really stupid idea. You don't renege on a contract that you already awarded. They would never do that with Boeing. They would never do that with Lockheed. They should, but they never would. But they'd only do it with SpaceX. I think that was a terrible, terrible, terrible move. But that does jive with what Rook is saying. He's great instincts, is an excellent communicator. I mean, the guy understands that we need to do something. But the problem is that when you're NASA administrator and you understand that we need to get something done, but you don't know anything about spaceflight, you tend to do something that's not good for spaceflight. It's very easy to upset the cart and have stuff fall over, especially with NASA. You think Jared will undo that? Well, let's read. Bad precedent for any government contract. Bingo. That was not the right move at all. Anyway, this isn't an election or campaign for the NASA administrator job. The secretary is the leader, and I will root for his success across many responsibilities. Okay. We both believe deeply in American leadership in the high ground of space. Like I said, see, that makes sense. Though we may differ on how to achieve that goal and whether NASA should remain an independent agency. Though we may differ on how to achieve that goal and whether NASA should remain an independent agency. Yeah, dude, he was trying to do that. He was trying to get rid of NASA. He was trying to roll NASA into the Department of Transportation. It is true that Athena was the code name for Jared Isaacman's plans. It was a draft plan I worked on with a very small group from the time of my initial nomination through its withdrawal in May. Parts of it are now dated, and it was always intended to be a living document refined through data gathering post-confirmation. I would think it is better to have a plan going into a responsibility as great as the leadership of NASA that has no plan at all. It is also true that only one 62-page version of the plan with unique header-footer markings was delivered in hard copy back in mid-August to a single person or single party. I learned it was leaked to reporters and across industry last week. It seems some people are letting politics get in the way of the mission and the president's goals for space. Personally, I think the why behind the timing of this document circulating and the spin being given to reporters is the real story. Yeah, see, this is what I mean. Eric Berger reported that this was he reported earlier last week, I think it was last week, whenever it happened, that Sean Duffy tried to release it to make like, look, this is what Jared Isaacman is doing. Look, he's going to do this. He's an idiot. I should be the NASA administrator. This seems to jive very much with what that report said. Yeah, see, that's what I mean about Berger, man. His sources are pretty damn good. He's got a pretty good finger on the pulse. I still can't stand that he doesn't like in-house NASA stuff, but whatever, man. Agree to disagree. I'm sure he's a good dude. What happened to people proofreading before they hit enter? Usually you don't proofread when you type stuff expediently. So did Duffy release Athena? Rook doesn't say it, King. But if you are familiar with this matter, it is heavily implied that that is what happened. He was actually the only reporter to point that out. Politico ran with the story that Jared wanted to cancel everything. Yep. Yeah, like I said, Elvis, that's what I mean. His sources are good. I know, like, if Eric says that this is happening, like 90% of the time, that is right. Like, I'd say at least 90%. His track record's pretty damn good. We've been following him for some time. I used to not be able to stand that. I was like, dude, what do you mean sources? What do you mean sources? Like, what does that mean? You know, you're just making that up. No. No, most of the time he isn't. And I can learn, you know, like that. Look, I've seen it empirically over the last like 5 to 6 years. Actually, no, we've been following him pretty much like in looking at Ars article since like 2016 or 2017, man. So yeah, I've been following for a long time, and he's usually right. Like, I'm man enough to admit that I disagreed, and I was like, that's bullcrap, but like, it is what it is, dude. Now, once in a blue moon, you will say sources are telling me. I hate saying that. I rarely ever do that, King, and I will never. I don't do that. I won't do that. If somebody else wants to do it and I want to cover their article, I don't have a problem with that. Like, believe me, there's plenty of people here that watch this stream that work in the industry. I actively tell them to don't tell me what you're doing. Not because like, not because, you know, not because like any particular reason. The particular reason, there is a particular reason for it. All right. Sorry. I wasn't saying that right. The reason why I do that is because I want to guess. I want to guess to make sure that I understand what's going on. I've been doing this for years. Hey, Weiss, what's going on? I've been doing this for years. I don't want to just report what's going on. I want to report and understand what's going on. That's a huge difference, man. I certainly wouldn't do any work with them if my company won a $2.9 billion contract and they pulled the rug out after giving me $2.7 billion because a lobbyist in a room temperature IQ acting administrator. Like I said, Redbeard, that's a really bad thing, and I hope Rook rights the ship really quick. I like to understand. I like to understand the engineering because I like this stuff, and it makes me a better communicator. It makes me a better teacher for you guys understanding this stuff. I tell people in the industry to not tell me anything. I know plenty of people in the industry, dude. I could probably pull the sources say as much as he does, but I don't. I don't want people telling me stuff. I want to figure it out, and I want to figure it out with you. Also, okay, just quick side note. I'm not going to lie. Because of my line of work, I spend too much time on social media. Sorry, man. It is what it is. Like, I spend a lot of time on social media, like in the off stream, trying to pick up space news, and it's social media and it's addicting and I might have a problem, etc., etc. I hate it when people vague post. Like when someone posts like, oh, I can't believe that just happened. I hate that. I hate cryptic posting. I hate the quip like, dude, if you knew about this, oh my God, you guys would blow a gasket. You know, like to learn more. No, shut up. I hate that stuff. I can't stand it. It just drives me up the wall. Anyway, I'm getting angry thinking about it. So yeah, I don't like any of that, guys. If I tell you something, I try to make sure that it's my own thought, you know, unless cited otherwise. And I rarely will be like, oh, somebody in the industry told me this. What just happened? Tell us. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's to the point, Aqualux, where I see that. I see vague posting like that and cryptic posting, and I just block, mute, you know. Well, the full plan exceeded 100 pages. It's centered around 5 main priorities that I will summarize below, including some specifics on the topics attracting the most interest. There's the question, why not release the entire document? Oh, well, one party is clearly circulating it, so I am sure it's only a matter of time before it becomes public, in which case I will stand behind it. I think there are many elements of the plan that the space community and NASA would find exciting, and it would be disappointing if they never came to fruition. Mostly, I just don't think the space community needs to debate line by line while NASA and the rest of the government are going through a shutdown. I will say everything in the report is consistent with my Senate testimony, my written response to the Senate for the record, and all the podcasts and papers that I have ever spoken to on this subject. Okay. So here's a cliff notes of his Project Athena. Careful, you only have so many brain cells. Overexposure is more dangerous. More dangerous than grass. Caveman, this is okay. Before we get into the 5 points, this is going to sound really stupid, and it's going to sound counterintuitive, and it's going to sound like, oh, I don't have an addiction. You have an addiction. Dude, my brain never shuts off. It does not shut off. It goes 24/7, 365, pedal to the floor. That's what this thing is doing all the time. My way of dealing with that is just suck up information and learn new things. That is my way of dealing with this. This is why I remember everything. This is why I have such a crazy freaking memory. I'm feeding information into this thing all the freaking time. Could that be overstimulation? Yes. Is it? Yes, probably. Most likely. But also at the same time, dude, I go on social media and I go and read, like Casey Handmer, the guy's blog that we read yesterday. I started following him a couple of months ago because he had a blog post about like machining and how hand tool, how, you know, like with a machine tool, like with a lathe or a mill or something, you should learn how to do it by hand first and then move to CAD. So you have a very good understanding of how the machine works. Yeah, that's what made me follow him. And I found that just digging through space Twitter like 3 or 4 months ago. Is that not normal? I'm the same way. I always thought everyone was that way, never shutting off. Dude, I never shut off. My brain's always craving new information. Mostly about space and cars at this point, but always. He's a machine. As a machinist, I can't agree more with your statement. Mario, I'm with you on that one, dude. I want to buy a lathe for the shop eventually, dude. But I don't really have any purpose for that right now, but soon. You're now at Pentium levels. Yeah. So, yeah, Caveman, you know, I get it. Be careful with social media. Don't go on social media too much. I use that to calm my brain down, to get my brain to get close to shutting off. It doesn't mean you have it, but it's a common symptom of ADHD. Maybe. Maybe, dude. Who knows? Who knows? Guess it's time for a Bridgeport lathe, but let's finish the damn car first, okay? I've asked you guys for more than enough money, and you have reciprocated for the coronet. I will give you the content that you paid for. Then we work on something else. Anyway, with that all being said, let's go. MIT OpenCourseware. Oh, yeah. Good stuff, dude. All right, so he said that this is these are just the main points. So, reorganize and empower. Pivot from the drawn-out, multi-phase RIF deaths by 1,000 cuts to a single data-driven reorganization aimed at reducing layers of bureaucracy between leadership and engineers, researchers, and technicians, basically all the doers. Align departments tightly to the mission so that information flows for quick decision-making. One example, which was mischaracterized by a reporter, was exploring relocating all aircraft to Armstrong so there could be a single hierarchy for aviation operations, maintenance, and safety. From there, aircraft like T-38s would operate on detachment at Johnson Space Center. Other goals from the reorganization would be to liberate the NASA budget from dated infrastructure that is in disrepair to free up resources to invest in what is needed for the mission of the day. And maybe most importantly, re-energize a culture of empowerment, ownership, and urgency, and recalibrate a framework that acknowledges some risks are worth taking. Little vague, but yeah, I agree with this. Yeah, that's fine. The Armstrong is, that's a good idea, dude. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, moving all centralized NASA's airplane maintenance around Armstrong, that's a good call. Mission of the day sounds like quarterly earnings to me. Will, I'll explain more about that. I hope you can snag a mentor to start working on your own rockets. I would love to, Ethereal. That would be awesome. I'd like to point out for no reason in particular that until less than a decade ago, the DSM explicitly denied the possibility of ADHD and autism being comorbid until all the studies finally proved at least some connection. Some showed a 90% overlap. I say this to remind everybody to consider that if they're still trying to understand why they are the way that they are. Now, okay, real quick, Ocklex, to be honest with you. I probably do. It's probably undiagnosed. Bro, look at me. Look at what I like doing. You think I don't have some kind of tism up there? I probably do. Like, let's be real. Come on. Dude, I see what my brain does. Like, I'm not an idiot, right? Clearly, other people don't think this way. But, dude, here's where I'm at, dude. Here's where I'm at. I know how this works. I know how it works. I know what it does. I'm 37, dude. I've been dealing with this crap for almost 40 years, okay? I know how it works, and I understand what I'm about and who I am and why I am the way that I am. I know it. I understand. I'm comfortable with me. Does that make sense? I don't know. Maybe. Probably, right? Like, I understand what I'm about and who I am and how I act. Like, I get it. I know that if this happens, this is going to bother me. Or if this doesn't happen, this is going to bother me. Like, I know where my buttons are. You know what I mean? I'm just comfortable with me, dude. That's it. Just comfortable with who I am. I don't need to know anymore. I'm good. Other people are different. Everyone is different. I understand. Nobody's brain is like everybody else's brain. If it were, it would be the frigging Borg. I get it. I'm comfortable with me. That's what I'm saying. I understand what I'm about, son. Give me all your bacon. No. I don't think you understood me. Give me all of your bacon. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, man? Yeah, I know you're doing a PSA. All right, anyway, back to Rook. American leadership in the high ground of space. Put more astronauts in space with greater frequency, including rebooting the payload specialist programs to give opportunities for the NASA workforce, especially on opportunities that could unlock the orbital economy, the chance to go to space. Oh, that's a good idea. Payload specialists. Yo, he wants to bring back payload specialists. That's awesome. Let's go. So, okay, what does this mean? All right. What that means, guys, is like, if you're like say you're like the foremost researcher on like nuclear propulsion or something, right? And you're the foremost expert at NASA on nuclear propulsion. If you want to do research, you can do research up in space, and basically astronauts will fly you up there to do research on nuclear propulsion in space. They did that with the shuttle program, guys. They did it with the shuttle program. They had commercial astronauts flying on the shuttle program. They weren't called commercial astronauts because that wasn't a thing yet. But yeah, like Bill Nelson was one of a spaceflight participant, for example. And then they had ballots like spaceflight participant. Okay. Fulfill the 35-year promise and the president's Artemis plan to return astronauts to the moon and determine the scientific, economic, and national security reasons to support an enduring lunar presence. Eventually, transition to an affordable, repeatable lunar architecture that supports frequent missions. When that foundation is built, shift resources toward the near impossible that no one else will work on, like nuclear electric propulsion for efficient transportation of mass, active cooling of cryogenic propellants, surface power, and even potential Department of Defense applications. To be clear, the plan does not issue a directive to cancel Gateway or SLS. In fact, the word Gateway is only used 3 times in the entire document. It's pretty telling. It doesn't issue a directive to cancel it, but it doesn't mention it very much. It does explore the possibility of pivoting hardware and resources to a nuclear electric propulsion program after the objectives of the president's budget are complete. Yeah, how do you cancel something that's not happening? Yeah, I know, it's really weird, Darker, right? On the same note, it also seeks to research the possibility that Orion could be launched on multiple platforms to support a variety of future mission applications. I like that. I like that. I like that. That's pretty good. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. As an avid electric propulsion fan, you're happy. Yep. As an example of the report being dated, Senator Cruz has subsequently incorporated additional funding into the that's the budgeting office for further Artemis missions. I think that's supposed to be OMB. The Office of Mission Budgeting. That OMB. Which brings clarity to the topic. Solving the orbital economy. Oh, the big beautiful. Yeah, that's the big beautiful bill. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Was thinking too much in NASA nomenclature, not other nomenclature. Thank you. Solving the orbital economy, maximize the remaining life of the ISS, streamline the process for high potential science and research to reach orbit. Partner with industry, pharmaceuticals, mining, biotech, money, to figure out how to extract more value from space than we put in, and critically attempt to solve the orbital economy. That is the only way commercial space station companies will have a fighting chance to succeed. Correct. I don't think that there is anything controversial here. We need to figure out how to pay for the exciting future that we all want to see in space. Yep. He got renominated. Ring, yeah, check it out. Renominated. See? NASA is a force multiplier for science. Leverage NASA's resources. Financial. Leverage NASA's resources. Financial. Bulk buying, launch, and bus from numerous providers. Yeah. Technical and operational, financial, technical, and operational expertise to increase the frequency of missions, reduce costs, and empower academic institutions to contribute to real discovery missions. The idea is to get some of that $1 trillion in university endowments into the fight. That's a good idea. Yeah, to avoid the Boeing sat buses. Yeah, for sure. Alongside NASA to further science and discovery. Expand the commercial lunar payload services style approach across planetary science to accelerate discovery and reduce time to science. Better to have 10 $100 million missions and a few fail than a single overdue and costly $1 billion plus mission. I know the science as a service concept got people fired up, but that was specifically called out in the plan for Earth observation. From companies that already have constellations like Planet, Black Sky, etc., etc. Why build bespoke satellites at greater cost and delay when you could pay for the data as needed from existing providers and repurpose the funds for more planetary science missions, as an example? With respect to JPL, it was a research request to look at overlaps between the work of the laboratory and what prime contractors were also doing on their behalf. The report never even remotely suggested that America could ever do without the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Personally, I have publicly defended programs like the Chandra X-ray Observatory offered to fund a Hubble reboost mission, and anything suggesting that I am anti-science or want to outsource that responsibility is simply untrue. Okay. Data continuity, that's why. There are benefits and not benefits to that. Any big news today? Have Argon try that one on for size. Link to this tweet? Sure. Who's written this? This is Jared Isaacman. He got renominated for NASA administrator. Right from the president, dude. Investing in the future. The congressionally mandated learning period will eventually expire, and the government will inevitably play a greater role in certifying commercial missions, crew and uncrewed, just like they do with aircraft, ships, trains, etc. NASA eventually should build a Starfleet Academy to train and prepare the commercial industry to operate safely and successfully in this future space economy, and consolidate and upgrade mission control into a single NORAD of peaceful space. Allowing the Johnson Space Center to become the spaceflight center of excellence and oversee multiple government and commercial missions simultaneously. Other investments for the future include AI, replacing dated IT systems, and ways to alleviate the demand on the deep space network. Closing. This plan never favored any one vendor, never recommended closing centers, or directed the cancellation of programs before objectives were achieved. The plan valued human exploration as much as scientific discovery. It was written as a starting place to give NASA, international partners, and the commercial sector the best chance for long-term success. The more I see the imperfections of politics and the lengths people will go, the more I want to serve and be part of the solution, because I love NASA and I love my country. And I love school. And I love football. And I'm going to keep doing them both because they make me feel good. All right, let's see where this takes us. You think that Jim Bridenstine tried to get Sean Duffy on his side? Scott, that's not out of the realm of possibility. Let me put it that way. And Dill, try to keep it a little classy, but yes. Not like Vicky, and she likes me back. And she showed me her motorcycle, and I like that too. I mean, guys, a lot of this stuff is still very vague. Like, I'm not exactly sure what all that necessarily entails. I mean, most of it is pretty crystal clear. Um, I tried to with the stars. Yeah, all right. Not against offloading a bunch to commercial, to be clear, but science needs a more strict chain of custody. Yeah, I mean, Alex, that's what I mean. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Keep in mind, these are parts. Rook himself said that all of this is subject to change. I think he'll figure that out, dude. He's not an idiot. He'll figure it out. NASA needs to have their own satellites for science. Like farming it out. Like, okay, say you're doing Earth observation, for instance. You have the Landsat program, which is fine. That's all. That's good, and Sentinel and stuff, right? Comparing it to like the commercial industry as a control for data continuity is not a bad idea, but that should never be at the behest of NASA's own data continuity. I think you're right. I think that's a good way to put that. Something wrong with his medulla oblongata. If it was a movie quote, sorry. EJ knows I don't know movie quotes. Yeah, Yarg is he yargs when he is yogurt. Does that make sense? This makes the play of Duffy trying to nuke the HLS contract even more strange, unless he was trying to data mine as much as he could before he got ousted. Yeah, like I said, well, Jeff, look, I know it was fun dumping on Sean Duffy. I don't hate the guy, to be honest with you. I really don't. I'll just say what I said right when some of his decisions with NASA started coming to light. I think he means well, and that's great, dude. That's great. I love it that you mean well. I really appreciate that you take NASA seriously. I don't think you understand what you're doing. Like, it is absurdly clear that he, from his decision making at NASA, that he was good at communicating what was going on, but I don't think that, like, if I asked Sean Duffy what the Exploration Systems Directorate is, I don't think he'd be able to give me an answer. You know, I just don't. I don't think he'd be able to. What does the Exploration Systems Directorate do? What do they do? What does the Science Mission Directorate do? What do they do? You know, what's the Deputy Associate Administrator do? You don't know any of this. Good intentions. Yeah, exactly, man. And I appreciate that he means well. I appreciate it that he took it seriously. You know, and that's not to say that politicians don't make good NASA administrators. I think politicians make great NASA administrators, if you really want to know. Jim was an excellent NASA administrator, and he was a representative from Oklahoma previously, before he was the NASA administrator. But here's the thing. Jim's also a fighter pilot. He was a fighter pilot. He flew Growlers in the Navy. He understands what it takes to fly an airplane. Okay? That kind of sets you up a little bit for success when you do that whole NASA thing, because flying a spacecraft is not that much different in terms of operations and procedure and being technical and deliberate than flying a spacecraft is. So Jim was good in that regard. You know? Jim had like 2,000 hours in a Growler, and he flew Growlers, which is an EF-18, and E2s, the Hawkeyes. So, yeah, he's also a lobbyist. No, James, I'm talking about when he was NASA administrator. He was good at it because he understood that you can't be just going and flipping buttons in an airplane cockpit. That's how you make a dumb decision when you're flying. But has he climbed any trees? I don't know. You know, that's a good point. I have no idea. You drive a hard bargain. Yeah, Aqualex. I mean, personally, if I had my way, we'd have a fleet of Earth observation monitoring satellites. And the sensor suite on all the satellites would be modular. and they would all be able to be refueled. You picking up what I'm laying down? You want to leverage the commercial economy, it's a pretty good way of doing it. These satellites need to be serviced. They need to be maintained. Just saying. Hey, Rocket Guy, what's up? I mean, that's my personal opinion. I think that was a pretty good idea. Rocket Guy, Jared Isaacman got renominated. Pretty good stuff. Yeah, I didn't think that would happen. Although it reminds me, there's Dawn news you haven't touched on already. I was in a meeting. It was mentioned when we were playing Kerbal, dude. But yeah, rumors came true then. Yeah, this is kind of unprecedented, dude. I mean, one, I've never seen a nomination. I don't think a nomination for NASA administrator has ever been pulled before and then renominated. Like, we're in way uncharted territory here, dude. But another thing that I do appreciate is we're, solving the orbital economy. That means that Rook basically understands that there's really no point there's no commercial point right now in sending anything into space for like pharmaceutical research and stuff. There's not a lot. The reason why is because it carries a high upfront cost. If that cost was reduced, maybe in the future, or like cloud computing in space or data centers in space. There's ways to unlock this, but you have to figure out what it is. I appreciate his ideas on that because that's right. No, it's never happened, Gaw. NG, if I recall correctly, the closest previously was a bunch debating over if Fletcher should become admin again post-Challenger. Yeah, that's a good point, NG. Yeah. Having a nomination pulled and renominated happened back in 1925. But NASA, I'm talking specifically for NASA, spoiled. NASA was not around in 1925. It was the NACA at the time. National Advisory Committee on Aeronautics. People were like, oh no, not Isaacman. Then Sean Duffy came along and they were like, dang, you know what? Isaacman would be better. Yeah. I mean, Rocky Guy, somebody asked me at the beginning of this, they asked like, is this good news? Yes. Yes, this is good news. It's like I was saying, Sean Duffy, I'm sure he's a good dude, but he knows nothing about spaceflight. You know nothing. You know nothing about spaceflight. That's what I was saying right before you came in. I like the passion. I really do. I appreciate it, man. But if you don't understand the subject matter, that passion can easily be misplaced. Like rolling NASA into the Department of Transportation. Like, what are you talking about? I doubt that data centers in space will ever really take off. The main limitation of a data center is heat, limited by how much power you can dissipate. Yeah. So, Fox, I have a question for you. And I keep seeing people say that. And don't get me wrong, I am a student of thermodynamics. Getting rid of heat in the vacuum is very difficult. I understand this. I get it. Fox, I have a question. With that all being said, why is NVIDIA looking at making constellations of data centers? Why is SpaceX trying to do that with Starlink? Trying to turn Starlink into like actual cloud storage and work on computing in space? Surely there's something here that we're missing, because people with way more money than you and me are clearly ready to throw billions of dollars at this problem. Google now too. That's what I'm saying, guys, because dude, we've talked about data centers in space. Fox, I agree with you. How the heck are you going to solve the heat problem? I think data centers in space would be like the current AI bubble. Like, yeah, don't get me wrong. Thermodynamics cannot be beaten. Tinfoil hat in me says, can't be upset that AI is spoiling the environment when it's outside the environment. Yeah. Yeah. Electrical cost in space is like zero. Electric is like 80% of data costs. Tessa, that's certainly a good enough reason. Yeah, if you put it that way, say that electrical cost to run a data center is X amount. Surely figuring out a way to build a radiator array and make that work with a data center of equal computing power in space, it does not equal the electrical cost, right? You're basically offshooting you could basically, that makes sense. That makes sense. So a data center takes up space and it sucks up electricity. Electricity in space is free. Just get it from the sun. And solar panels work way better up there. And in that regard, solving the thermodynamics problem is just a big enough radiator loop, guys. It's just a big enough radiator loop. What are you going to do? Run out of space? Interesting. Think of how you could make it keeping her on the dark side of Earth. What? That. They're going to park them at Earth Sun L1? Or latency that far out would not be worth it. Yeah, Cirrus, that's my question. A lot of smart people are going to figure it out eventually. I mean, Wong, it must be yeah, that's why I asked you guys this question, because look, we all understand thermodynamics. We get it. You can't get rid of heat in a vacuum. Getting rid of heat in the vacuum is super, super important. The space shuttle on the inside of its payload bay doors had radiators. If a micrometeorite punctured one of those radiators, it's an immediate mission failure. Immediate scrub. Come back down. Immediately. Because you will die if you stay up there any longer. If you have a coolant leak, you have to jettison the saucer section. You know what I'm saying? That's a big deal. It's a very big deal with spacecraft. You have to shed the heat, even though the vacuum is quote unquote cold. It's not cold, it's nothing. That would just need to be in medium Earth orbit, and then they have sun forever and no Earth shadow. That's right. Yeah. Building out constellations in MEO. Not a bad idea. And you could use a magnetorquer to station keep that thing. Just like Tidris. Shoot, man, that's a really good idea. Huh. Two big factors for data centers, at least where I live, are concerned over the demands of the data centers on the water and power grid. Data centers usually dump heat into open-loop evaporative coolers. We talked about beam power. No. The topic of discussion here, Seakraken, is solving the orbital economy. Rook wants to try to basically have NASA figure out ways to make low Earth orbit profitable. Okay, full disclosure, guys, they tried to do this with the shuttle program. The Getaway Special program is a very good example of this. The Payload Specialist program is another really good example of this. They tried doing it with the space shuttle. The only reason it failed was because, once again, topic of discussion that we discussed yesterday, the person that gave the go to launch STS-51L needs to be in prison for life. And will for involuntary or voluntary manslaughter. Just saying. Hey, Chazbomb. But Yeah, they were doing that with the shuttle program. That's what they wanted to do. The shuttle was supposed to unlock the orbital economy because it was supposed to reduce the cost going into space. That you could do whatever. People wanted to build another space station, the shuttle could do it, no problem. That was the whole idea. What was that in the sky tonight? What do you mean, Kashmir? What direction? What direction and what time? It is something the shuttle was trying to do. Yes. Watching content like YouTube, Netflix, etc. doesn't need low latency. A data center in high orbit doesn't need low latency. Interesting. Look at your texts. You caught the Ariane 6 flight. I was looking for this, damn it! How come you saw it and I didn't? Oh, that's bullcrap. How the hell did you see it? I was man. So the Europeans launched something out of South America this afternoon. And I went outside to look at the stupid thing and I couldn't find it. How long ago? When did you send this? Oh, this was just a second ago. What did you catch here? Hold on. What are we looking at? That's the Ariane 6 upper stage. When was that picture? Delayed by 20 to 30 minutes before I realized we weren't being invaded. That's stage passivation. So you didn't catch the launch. We couldn't see the launch. But so what you saw, what that is the Sentinel-1D satellite in upper stage. The swirl is stage passivation. So they have the upper stage. The upper stage deploys the payload, right? Payload goes away, right? And then the upper stage has to vent its fuel. And the upper stage has what's called a roll rate imparted on it. They roll it for thermo. So, because if it's just sitting up there, one side can be in the sun and one side can't. So it rolls like this. When they vent it and it's rolling, it makes that swirl. Yeah, stage passivation. They're disposing of their upper stage that just delivered the payload. Because the Europeans don't reuse anything. That's what that is, which is super cool. Yeah, that's neat. That's neat that you caught it. So we watched that launch about 2 hours ago. To be fair, doesn't Falcon 9 upper stage do the same? Yeah, but I'm not going to not take a dig at the Europeans because that's really funny. See, neither does the U.S. doesn't use the upper stage. Oh yeah? What's that? What's this then? You don't use that stage. Oh, okay. All right. We'll check back with me in a couple of years. We'll see how well that statement ages. Is it orbital? No. No. Not gonna lie, we kind of deserve it. Oh, now I feel bad. Now I feel bad, man. Pa, why you gonna make me feel bad? So yeah, you Kashmir, you caught it coming around the other again. So like it did an orbit, and then it came around. How's that high-speed rail network coming there? We don't have one, Tessa. You know why? Because we invented this thing that goes faster than high-speed rail. Okay. It flies up in the air. You should know. You guys have made plenty of those. How's your high-speed rail project going? Is it going good? Oh, it's not. Huh. Surely HS2 is going fine. Nah, don't feel bad. Hermes was their fault. Yep. Better than yours. We have one.
Hello
and welcome to not Scott Manley's video. You sure about that? You sure about that? Where's the dang train? Just show me the damn picture of the train. I'm just trying to look at a picture of the stupid train. Boop. 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 Also, French TGV. You mentioning another country's trains as a W for you in this regard, particularly a French train, is not the own you think it is. Pythos, wasn't Deer Moon supposed to be 2026 and 2027? Yusaku Maezawa pulled out of the project and pulled all funding for it because once he flew to space on a Soyuz, he simply didn't want to anymore. You're against Europe, not the UK. Yeah, it's a good, strong union that you're not a part of. I could do this all day. I could do this all day. I hate the Brexit. Concord then? All right, that's cool. That's fair. That's fair. It's pretty good. Though that one was pretty good. Hey man, just telling you, I had a whole mess of crepes this morning. They're like little pancakes, even better. You know, that last one is pretty cool. Heck, the UK still runs on Steam for revenue service. We have 4014 out there doing revenue service. That's kind of cool. Speaking of the moon, I definitely didn't have Intuitive Machines move on your bingo card. I didn't know that they were that solvent and Maxer Division being worth so little. Yeah, Rocky Guy. Another bit of space news. Intuitive Machine bought out it's Maxer, right? It was like MBA or something. Also, you nuked the US twice in a war game with Vulcans. Good, you got 2 off. We got 5,000 off, and your country ceases to exist. See, that's what they don't tell you about all these damn war games, you know? People are like, oh, the Swedes played war games with the US and sank an aircraft carrier. Yeah, but they failed to mention that Sweden ceased to exist as a country in that war game after that. Just saying. The Swedes took out a carrier, though. Yeah, all right. They had no country to go back to. Just saying. Like, I'm not trying to be mean. MDA Maxer Linteris. That's what it is. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you don't just sink an aircraft carrier. We sunk your battleship. Yeah, I sank your country. We just made the Baltic Sea a little bigger. Finland has a lot more beachfront property in Norway, too, now. And I'm sure the Norwegians are all about that life. Norwegians are like, wait a minute, you telling me we don't have to live next to Sweden anymore? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, all right. Stop looking at me, Swan. They touched the boat. Nobody touched the boats. You know what I'm saying? No, I will not apologize. Yeah, I see it, Pythos. I see what you said. Anyway, I have nothing against Sweden. You guys are all right. Not space news, but aviation news. Oh, Cooks, we saw the MD-11 crash. I didn't show it on stream. I only showed a picture of the flames. I And dude, I even feel bad showing the picture after I saw what happened. I don't dude, I broke my rule today and I'm not happy about it. At the end of the Kerbal stream, I made a joke and I showed the crash. And then I realized that I showed the crash and I'm like, I don't like showing death, dude. I don't like showing anything that has to do with Apollo 1. I don't like showing anything that has to do with Challenger in Columbia. I really try not to do it at all. Or Soyuz 1 or Soyuz 11, unless it's to really drive home a point. And I also don't show plane crashes where people die. And I broke my rule today and I'm not happy about it. With that being said, that UPS MD-11 crash is terrible. Gruesome. It's bad. Yeah, I have a thing. Like, as far as I would want to in terms of internet content creation, I do not want to profit off violence. With that being said, we still play Battlefield, so I'm not perfect in that regard. I'm not talking about a video game, though. I'm talking about a real life. Interesting, Noctilox, yeah. Serious question. Is showing events where people died a YouTube violation? I notice a lot of channels don't show past events anymore. It probably is something. Violence like that is against Twitch terms of service. I can't really speak too much to YouTube. However, even if it wasn't a rule, I still wouldn't do it. I just, I want to make content on my terms, and that's one of my terms. I don't do that, and I'm bummed. I'm actually kicking myself for breaking that rule today because that crash is really bad and 4 people died. It's not great. I showed the Haven demo footage yesterday, Panderific. That solar panel opening up. Isn't that cool? And yeah, an MD-11 is a big plane. And guys, MD-11s are almost as big as a 747 or a 777. They're huge. That is a gigantic airplane. Yeah, it's a shame because Tri-Jet, I'll admit, Tri-Jets are cool, but I'm an L1011 fanboy. I didn't really like the DC-10 or the MD-11. I like the Tri-Jet with the S-duct. I think that looks infinitely cooler. Didn't it crash into a residential area? Chaz, it looks like it crashed into a junkyard, to be honest with you. It's insane how violent solar deployment is. Energy's got to go somewhere. Yeah, Tessa, it looked like it landed in a junkyard, man. Well, actually, it didn't really look like it took off from what I saw. Tri-Jets are cool until you have to service them. You see, well, that's, yeah. Yeah. It hit UPS's own warehouse. That sucks. It was in the air, sadly. Yeah, it didn't get very far. I mean, that's... Rocket Guy, from what I saw, it looks like they got past V1. They got past V1 and tried to rotate the plane out. Because that's... So, guys, we talk about abort contingencies and abort procedures. Every time an airplane takes off, like when you're taxiing to the runway, the pilot and the co-pilot discuss abort contingencies. Very similar to how, if we're listening to the mission control loops on like SpaceX or ULA or whatever, they say from this moment out, all safety contingencies are in order. If somebody sees something that goes into the red line, operators will yell, hold, hold, hold on the countdown net, and you'll immediately, like that whole spiel. Pilots do that every time. They do that every time. You discuss your abort contingencies before you take off. The left engine left the plane. He's the nominee, Hampus. He's the nominee. He has to get confirmed by the Senate. The left engine left the airplane. Oh no. Anyway, pilots will discuss your abort contingencies, guys. The reason why something like V1 is called, just like how you hear on, if we watch like NASA astronauts fly into space on Dragon, they say mode 1, mode alpha, mode 1 alpha, mode 1 bravo, mode 1 Charlie. That is the different abort contingencies. When a plane is taking off down a runway and you declare V1, okay, when the pilot says that, what that means is that you are at the point where the plane can't stop if it gets you don't have enough runway.
Discovery, go at
all right.
up.
So the call after V1 is rotate, where the plane rotates up and you generate lift. That is your abort contingency, to gas out if something goes wrong and gain altitude as much as you can. V1 is the point of no return. You have to take off. You have to commit to taking off after V1. If this UPS plane had a problem after V1, like the engine coming off, which is you're kind of screwed. There's kind of nothing you can do. Like, just gas out and hope you gain altitude. V1 is decision. Yeah, exactly. V2 is, basically that's when you got to go. One more train thing. Germany's newest variant of the ICE has the optics of a regional train that is called the ICE L, low floor. Oh, neat. That's kind of cool. I mean, if it's one thing the Germans do, you guys do trains. You guys can train pretty damn good. One engine out should not be a problem. Question is how damaged it might have been done to the wing in a loss of lift. Yeah, Prima, exactly. That's my next thing. It's a tri-jet. So planes have engine out capabilities. Even to this day, there are standards for a plane to have engine out capabilities. It's called ETOPS. I always forget what the acronym stands for. Long story short, it's a set of flight rules to work by to make it so you never get lost at sea with a twin engine plane. For like transatlantic crossing. Engines turn or passengers swim? Yeah, that's it. Both chats said that. Both chats said the same thing. To be honest, the fact that there's a period of time after you're too fast to stop but too slow to go always seemed like a bit of a safety oversight. I mean, Aqualix, yeah, dude, I'm not trying to sound like a dick, but, dude, hundreds of thousands of planes do this every day with no problem. You know what I mean? I've heard that the regional rail service has suffered greatly in Germany lately. That's a shame, dude. Germany's railroad network is ace. In fact, most of Europe's railroad network is ace because of World War I and World War II. For the same exact reason that the U.S.'s highway network is really good because of the Cold War. Fun fact. The only solution is to make the runway 4 times longer. Extended range twin engine operations. That's what it is, Prima. I always forget that acronym for some stupid reason. I know what it means and I know what it is, but I forget the name of it. It's so strange. Extended range twin engine operations performance standards, aka how long you're certified to fly with a single engine. There you go. Except the UK's. Ours wasn't bombed enough. Yeah. People analyzing the video are saying it looked like the tail engine possibly lost thrust from ingesting parts from the damaged number 1 engine. Ugh. Yeah, Prima, you tell me, buddy. With single engine out, you can pull out of you could get up V2 and get altitude with 2 engines. I don't think it can do it with 1. Spanish manufacturer Siemens did not get the contract. I don't like it. It has much shorter cars, 15 instead of 25 meters, and much more of them. The certification train of this has 20 cars and was parked 500 meters from your house before testing. I don't like the flat nose, William. The ITSA needs to be. It needs to be a bullet train, man. What the hell? I mean, what engines does an MD-11 have offhand? Oh, that's great. Ooh, Deadbringer, look, KLM. Nice. I mean, like I said, guys, the MD-11 is a wide-body airplane. It is a big, big, big plane. Yeah, that's one of the bigger ones, dude. What engines does this thing have? Same as a 767, 330, 747. Okay. Oh, yeah. Nice. Yeah, that would have been what the plane looked like. Yikes. Pratt & Whitney 4460 or a GE CF6. Yeah, go. The last MD-11 was delivered in 2001. They are getting old. This one had the GE engine, so it had a CF6. So the CF6 is it's a TF39. It's derived from the TF39, which is the C5 Galaxy engine. They're big, big motors. It's a high bypass turbofan. It has a, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 stage axial compressor, 2 stage axial turbine, and then a 5 stage and 1 axial turbine to drive the ducted fan. Do you want vids, EJ? No. I'm not showing that on stream, dude. I have a rule about it. Anytime we see there's a plane crash happens, I have a rule about it. If you guys want to talk about it, I don't want to talk about people getting killed, but you know, if you want to talk about the plane and stuff, I don't really necessarily have a problem with that. Blog post tonight or tomorrow? We'll probably do the blog post tomorrow, Red. Yeah. How much torque do you need to spin that guy? What, a CF6? Dude, a CF6 is a big, big engine. That's huge. It's not GE90 big, but it's almost GE90 big. Your college has an Olympus engine under the main staircase. Now that's a jet engine. Now that's a jet engine, dude. It takes a dysfunctional melon farmer to make something like that. Now that's a freaking motor. The GE90 is larger than a 737 fuselage. It's the same size. The inlet diameter on a GE90 is the same size as a Falcon 9 core, by the way. Yeah, just for some reference. And it makes almost as much thrust as a Merlin engine. A singular Merlin engine, but still. The Snecma Olympus is even better, yeah. Yours has a Trent 1000, another good engine. The MD-11 engine 2. Ah, that's in the duct. Look at that, guys. Here, I'll show you. Yeah, like I said, CF6s and Pratt 4460s, they're big engines, man. Those are pretty big. He props to the Pegasus. Nah, that thing is a piece of junk. I like that engine too. Man, I'm telling you, the Brits had one hell of an aerospace program, dude. They, I mean, Nader, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like we didn't tank that, because we... Yeah, that's kind of our fault. My bad, guys. Sorry. Sorry about that. I'm not, but whatever. What about Boom Symphony? Boom is making their own engines. Can we just have some tri-jet appreciation instead, guys? And just... They should put a G9X on a C5. It's too big. Too big. Wings wouldn't be able to hold it up, dude. We're trash now. Yeah. I'm jumping up and down for NASA. Yep. Yeah. I like I said, I like the TriStar, guys. I'm sorry. I like the TriStar because well, here. Oh, that's good. Yeah, here. This is why I like TriStars. There you go. See that? TriStars launch stuff into space. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty neat. We took the British design and made it better with the AV-8B. Yeah. Yeah, that's Stargazer. So that plane is technically still... Pegasus is on paper, it's still operational. Yeah. Scary thing about tri-jets to me is that engine failure plus failed containment equals goodbye horizontal stabilizer. That's why I like that's one of the reasons why I like the TriStar better, because the engine is behind it. The TriStar, the third engine is mounted back here. It's in the tail of the plane, the very tail of the airplane. And there's a gigantic S-duct right there, like a Formula One car, actually. Yeah, it's like a Formula One car. Only a Formula One car could probably drive into that S-duct. Just saying. That is the only airworthy L1011 left. Wait, where's the horizontal stabilizer? It's behind the wing in this shot, dude. Lockheed, man. Look at that thing. See, the engine's in the very back. And there's a gigantic S-duct. They had, somehow, they figured out a way to carry the load around the S-duct of the vertical stabilizer and H-stabs, which is pretty cool. It's pretty cool, man. It's a pretty cool design. And there's one Pegasus left, right? As far as I know, Rocket Guy, yeah. L1011 is a little bit bigger than a 767. It's kind of halfway between a 767 and a 777. If the engine goes, there goes your elevators and tail. Yeah, no, I'm not saying tri-jets were the smartest idea. I'm just saying if I have to pick, I'll pick the TriStar over the MD-11. That's all I'm saying. It is a cool looking airplane, I will say. It's a very, the S-duct is pretty cool. And the TriStar has RB211s on it, which are very powerful turbofans. Very powerful. Rolls-Royce 211s. Very nice. How much would that shape choke the engine on air? It wouldn't. Why would it? Brother, it's Lockheed. Lockheed Martin designed that plane. Actually, it was just Lockheed at the time. Lockheed designed that plane. You know, Lockheed, the guys that figured out how to take a jet engine and make it a or turbo ramjet. You know, they figured out a way to make engines work at like 100,000 feet. I'm pretty sure they had no problems with that, dude. I'm just putting it out there. I'm just putting it out there. Accidentally, but hey, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Does not matter. Apparently, the UPS flight was bound for Honolulu with 280,000 pounds of fuel on board. That's awful, dude. Anyway, Rook got nominated, guys. And that's all. That's good, man. That's good stuff, dude. I didn't realize the MD-11 had that range. Tape, MD-11s and TriStars are big. They're big airplanes, dude. They're wide body, long range aircraft, man. Will the jet fuel melt all those scrapped cars? Yes, most likely. Did you show the OLM being moved? I shared that at the beginning of KSP, dude. But yeah, they moved the OLM, guys. The orbital launch mount at Cape Canaveral. It's at LC-39A, and it's being lifted up tomorrow morning. Also, from McGregor Live here, check this out. We saw a flock of Raptor 3s being moved around on a truck, and one of them had a 54 on the serial number. So we've seen that's the highest serial number Raptor 3 that we have seen. I forgot about that. So there's that, and let me find it. Yep, here we go. Here we go. So check this out. My buddies over at NSF caught this today on Space Coast Live, their live streaming channel. Go over there and subscribe if you want to see cool live stream stuff like this. So they moved the second Block 3 orbital launch mount to the pad, but the thing is they did this at the Cape today. They did not do it at this is not in Texas. This is in Florida. So you'd move it past the VAB there. I also noticed a couple things about this OLM. It is much more complete. It is much more complete. It has much more stuff attached to it than when SpaceX moved the first OLM for Pad 2 at Boca Chica. That confirms they moved in herds. I didn't call it a flock of raptors for no reason, Gaw. It helps when you have a bigger crane lifting it. So this has the booster quick disconnect mounts already put in it, and it has the BQD hoods, well, the lower hoods for them. When Florida launch? Dean? These blast points, too accurate for sand people. Only Imperial stormtroopers are this precise. I would guess Q2 next year for pad operations. Yeah. They're maybe Q3. This pad is coming together extremely quick. It is coming together faster than the second pad at Boca Chica. Now, the reason why is because they already know how to make this pad because they already made it at Boca Chica. You could see as evidence by your concept of operations changing with your OLM lift. The OLM lift at Boca Chica took two 2 Liebherr 11,000s. This is using one crane, and it's more feature complete. This pad is going to get done faster. People are going to say, oh, it's not going to be ready for at least a year. No. No. It's going to get done a lot quicker. I would say probably May or June. Something like that. Why couldn't 2 cranes lift a more assembled OLM than 1 crane at 39A? Derek, the crane that they're using, so I know that doesn't seem like there's that big of a name difference between a Liebherr 13,000 and a Liebherr 11,000. That's like saying a 737 and a 747 are similar in size because their names are close to each other in numbers. The 13,000 is one of the biggest cranes, one of the biggest lattice crawler cranes around, period, full stop. There you go, goalie. 2 Liebherr 11,000s cannot lift what a 13,000 can. I know the names are similar, Derek, but the 13,000 is a massive piece of equipment. You'll see. Wait till tomorrow morning. Yeah, that pad. Yep. They moved it, and they're gonna place it tomorrow morning, dude. In my brain, 2 cranes are better than 1. You'll see tomorrow, dude. 13,000 is massive. Just show the video of cranes lifting cranes. Yeah. What is this? Impulse Space News? How do you know it's getting lifted tomorrow? They wouldn't move it to the pad if they weren't going to lift it very soon. I mean, look at what happened at Boca Chica. They moved it and they had it lifted the next day. And these crane operations are going to be simplified because you're using 1 crane. It's going to get lifted tomorrow morning, dude. What is this? Introducing Leo Express 3, launching soon on the Transporter 15 rideshare mission with SpaceX. Mira is flying its 3rd mission, debuting the first vehicle in the upgraded spacecraft line. Building on the success of Leo Express 1 and 2 missions, Express 3 expands Mira's performance envelope and will execute mission operations for multiple customer payloads. Impulse, man. Cool. Intuitive Machines. Oh, yeah. Yeah, here you go. I mean, yeah, that's good enough, Mutter. This gets the point across. There's a Liebherr 13,000. There's an 11,000. Look at the difference in size. It's freaking gigantic. Here, let me get over here. $246 meters with a power boom attachment. That's ridiculous, man. That crane's almost 1,000 feet tall. Just for what it's worth. I mean, here, let's do the math out exactly. So it can be 246 meters tall in its with the largest attachment. That's showing it with a power boom right there. Times that by 3.3. 811 feet tall. That crane can reach as high as an 81-story building. Well, not necessarily. That's the height of the crane. The jibs, if you're using jibs, you probably can't reach that high. You probably maybe be able to reach that high, maybe, but probably not. What is my purpose? You're the crane that builds the crane. Oh my God. Here, you want to see a picture of its tracks up close? Look at the tracks next to the stepladder. I mean, it is a monster, dude. Look at the chunk. That thing is chunky. I get it. I mean, dude, just So this is one of the attachment points here for attaching. I think it attaches the track to the rest of the house and stuff. But look at how thick that damn steel is. Look at all of it. Look at it's all chunky, man. Step ladder, don't you mean full ladder? What do you mean step ladder? The track is 424,000 pounds. Oh. Yeah, okay. Okay. It's the size of 2 full Starship stacks. Well, Nocturlox, back in the day, when SpaceX stacked Booster 4 and Ship 20, right? Guess what they used to stack it? They used the Liebherr 13,000 with a power boom attachment. The Skittles crane, you remember that? That's what that is. They look like crawler tracks for the crawler transporters. Yep. Quit the yawning. Do you know that's the fastest traveling contagion? Okay. Did you... No. How do you know... I'm not making faces at you, I swear. Sorry, I kind of ruined the bit, but also... All I'm saying is we can turn the crawler transporter into a crane. Why? It's good as... You should just use a crawler transporter. Knock on my door. Knock next time. Getting the audience sit. Oh, no, never do that. Jeez, that freaking plane crash showed up in my feed again. Man. That's bad. This is the track weight breakdown. Huh, nice. It's going to be going through the feed for at least a day or two. I just don't like scrolling through my feed and just seeing people die. That's just, I could really do without that. I really do without that. Like, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I really do without that. I really don't need that in my life. That's not cool. That's pretty fair, right? Yeah, no, like, that's fair. That's fair, Like, I don't need to be scrolling through and seeing people get shot in the neck. That's awful. That's awful. Like, I don't need that. I did really, really didn't need that, like. Time lapse of the mount going out at KSC from LSR. Like, or a plane crash where people die in a fiery explosion, or like, someone getting double tapped. Like, I don't need to see that. I really don't, like, it's funny because, like, when I was younger, dude, I grew up in the Wild West of the internet, like in the late 2000s, where we're seeing combat footage out of Iraq and Afghanistan. I saw people get blown away on both sides. It's not great. And I was like, oh my gosh. And when as I get older, I'm like, I don't need to see that. I don't want to see that. I don't need to see that. I don't know. Maybe I gotten soft in my old age. I don't know. Like, I just don't need that's, It's election night. If you want to talk about something else, I'm sure that's a nice conversation. You know what? I don't. Nah, not good for the psyche. It really isn't, dude. That stuff weighs on you, whether you like it or not, dude. The sniper video, you know what I'm talking about, Smutty. Yeah. You have learned you don't need to traumatize yourself repeatedly. Yeah. Yeah, I don't like seeing people get ripped in half. That's really uncool. Dude, some of the footage coming out of their Wisp is so bad. I just Yeah, it's so bad. I don't need to see people get Call of Duty martyrdomed by a drone. That is awful. I can't, dude. I can't do it. I can't do. I don't want to. Like, I'm just like, nah, we're good. You know, what's the plan for after hours? Well, guys, I want to get a good leg up on the car tomorrow, so I think I'm gonna call it a little bit on the early side today. Stationeers? Nah, I'm good for right now. I want to call it a little bit early today. Tomorrow we're gonna tee up a car stream. And I should be here a little bit earlier. You want an idea for a raid? Dean is doing stationeers right now. Oh, yeah? Today's been a win. Treat yourself. Yeah, that's right, man. Well, tomorrow is going to be a long stream because I want to work on the car and then I want to do space news and then we got to figure out what the hell we're going to do with the summer car save, but I know, Dino. I know you were just messing around. I got it. We also got 3 launches tomorrow. Yeah, Viasat 3F2, Starlink 681, and then the Nation God Navigates. What time is that first launch at? 2:45. Oh, yeah, tomorrow's going to be a big day. So, yeah. What happened to the MSC save? I got fined $12,000 for having a radar detector in the car during the rally race. I don't have enough money to pay that. So, you know, that's going to end well. But anyway, Jared Isaacman got the nomination back, which is huge news. That's super cool. Yeah. How big of a sat is that doing? Viasat 3F2, I think, is a BSS 702 sat bus. It's big, I think. 6,400 kilos. Yeah, that's a big satellite. Actually made it to the rally race twice. Yeah, Dan, we'll see. We'll see. You have to remember the Wild West days of the internet. You were lucky to find pictures or video at 480 interlays. Yeah, right. Not going to continue the read for yesterday. We'll do that tomorrow, Shogun. Yeah, I was going to do it today, but the Rook nomination kind of took that spot. That's really big news. We'll finish reading Casey's blog about Orion tomorrow, which is a pretty good read. I do like it thus far. So, yeah, I will see you guys all then. And let's see if we can raid somebody. You said Dean is playing right now? What's he up to? Dean's playing Stationeers. Let's go see what he's up to. On YouTube, none of this will make any sense. So, go raid Dean. Once again, I'm going to try to get a little bit of sleep tonight, and tomorrow will be a very long stream. So, I'll be in here early. Go see what my buddy Dean, that's Dean Hall. He's playing Stationeers. It's the game that company by the name of Rocketworks made Stationeers. Dean's the CEO of that company. He's pretty cool. He's a pretty cool dude. So I'm going to get some sleep for tomorrow. We're going to have a lot of work to do in the shop, and I will talk to you guys all. I'll talk to you guys all later. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good night.